Okay, let's get started. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Khadijah, or my Arabic name, Khadija Ozan. I'm head of developer relations at Groc. This is my second time in Riyadh, and I'm really happy to be here today partnering with طويق Academy. So thank you to طويق and thank you to Milaf for setting this up. Today we're going to have an hour together to talk about developing real-time AI applications. There is a huge excitement for AI here in Saudi Arabia, and it's been really exciting to see everything that everybody is thinking about, wanting to build, and I'm here with my team to help you all, inshallah, to learn more about not only building AI applications, but the tools and the platform that you can use to be able to accomplish that. So why now? I'm sure all of you have a different reason for being here, but what's bringing us together is AI. We have now exited the era of AI research. I have been at Groc for 3.5 years, and let me tell you, when I first joined, AI really was in the research phase. Up until, I'm sure you all know, ChatGPT was launched in, I think, the fall of 2022, and that's when AI took the world by storm. Even my parents know about AI now, and we talk about it at the dinner table. So it's been transformative. Everybody is learning how to use AI, and if you don't use AI, honestly, you're falling behind. Just an example, at Groc ourselves, we use AI for reviewing product proposals, plans, even engineers, including myself, use AI to build out applications, to debug code. And what it does, it's not replacing us per se, but it is helping us to really be productive and to learn about things that we couldn't have learned about before at the touch of a button. So it's been very exciting. And I'm sure you all have a different use case for coming here today. And I want this to be interactive. I'll have a Q&A session at the end. I want to learn about what you're building, why you decided to come to this talk today, and what else you want to get out of it. So an example of this and just how transformative it is, I don't need to sit here and convince you that AI is a really huge opportunity that you need to leverage. This is a team of 3 college students, and I met them months ago at a hackathon. And since then, they actually discovered our platform, Groc, which I will talk about and show you. And they, at a hackathon, built up an application that they now called OpenNote that they fully productized and is in production. 3 college students built a few months ago, pushed to production using real-time AI inference with Groc, and they have more than 50,000 users. And these are students. So this is just one example of what can happen when you leverage AI and transform industries or even your own use cases that you want to make your life easier with. So inference. What I want to talk about and just really educate everybody on is how I mentioned that we've moved on from the era of research and science. So, back when I joined Groc, we were mainly helping out big research labs. So they were kind of testing models. They weren't really using them in production. They were experimenting. Since ChatGPT boom of 2022, we have moved to productionizing AI. Everybody is using it. And we've went from a demand for training large models to now using all of these large language models, text models, reasoning models, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, anything that you can imagine. I follow the AI world closely, and I'm sure you do too. There's a new white paper out every single day. There's something new. There's a new model release. There are frontier models, which you might be familiar with, which are OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, and then there are all of the open source models that are quickly catching up, such as Meta's Llama 4 and many others. So we have moved over from training to what we now call the era of inference. And what inference is when you just query a model. So every time you ask an LLM a question, that is inference at work. And I really want to emphasize this because as we move on into inference, as you go out there, learn about AI, build AI agents, build AI-powered features, you will notice the importance of not only inference, but fast AI inference for really good real-time user experiences. So there are challenges, of course, with building out AI applications. I've talked to maybe thousands of people ranging from students to engineers at enterprises, and the challenges are pretty common, and I'm seeing a trend here too. First of all is scalability. I spoke to 2 different people today at 2 different locations that were telling me that for building out their AI applications, they were running open source models locally. Now, they're trying to create startups, and running locally is not enough for deployment, as you all know. The cost and speed. Okay, you build out an application. It's free if you do it locally on hardware that you may own or borrow. But when you do move it over, the cost and the speed becomes another big challenge, because frontier models that I mentioned are very powerful and they can do everything, but they are slow and they are expensive. Integration complexity. There are so many frameworks out there. How do we choose and just go with one? Or how do we build something up from scratch? And then lastly, and what is really important here in the kingdom, is privacy and data sovereignty. I'm sure you all know with this push for Vision 2030 and AI itself, data cannot leave the region. It needs to have total data sovereignty. Your applications need to be secure. So these are the challenges that a lot of developers are running into, not just in the US where I'm from, but here and across the globe. And I'm going to talk about how we can solve some of these challenges for you. Now, before I get into what Groc actually is, I also want to talk to you about hardware. So as I mentioned, inference is the act of actually asking a model a question, and every single query that you send is AI inference. Now, traditionally, GPUs have been used for gaming, for training large language models, and to solve the AI crisis or the AI problem, GPUs have been now thrown to inference, to solve inference. However, what you'll notice, and how many of you here have used models from OpenAI, for example? Show of hands. ChatGPT? Ooh, okay, a few of you. You'll notice that when you do send a query, it'll come back to you with an answer, but that answer will be slow. And maybe you're thinking, well, I can't read that fast. For all the engineers in this room, you know that when you are trying to build out an application, right? Let's say a traditional software application. You know that there are many functions that are in there that your application will have to call for your end user. And a lot of us get very frustrated even with a simple website when we log in and it doesn't load for 2 to 3 seconds, we leave that website, right? So GPUs are thrown at inference so that we can run these large language models on them. However, the performance is not enough. There is an inference bottleneck and a performance bottleneck that comes from running these models on GPUs. So this is where I'll get into what I'm about and why I'm here and what Groc is. To solve this inference problem, the same way, for example, you would not order a pizza and get it shipped by a cargo ship, right? That's a bit ridiculous. It would get the job done, but it would take months. So Groc is an AI inference infrastructure startup, and our founder, Jonathan Ross, created what we call the LPU, or the Language Processing Unit, in 2016 to solve the inference problem. We built this chip from the ground up for one thing and one thing only, and that is AI inference, so that you can get inexpensive and extremely performant inference for your applications. So actually, before I get into Groc a little bit more, and then we can switch over to some demos and applications that are built, and I can show you guys some open source code for all of the developers in here that you can leverage. I'm going to show you this short video. So that may not be much to most of you in here, except if you're maybe a hardware enthusiast, but this is an example of a Groc rack that has all of our LPUs within it that we have actually in Dammam, here in Saudi Arabia. We recently opened up a data center in Dammam to not only address the inference problem, but to also address the data sovereignty challenge that a lot of you might face if you go on to build your own startups. So this video is very exciting to me because it's just proof of the hardware that's out there that we can build with right now, and I'm going to show you exactly what others and I have built on it. So before that, we talked about challenges. All I want you to know and walk out of this room today with is that Groc, if you've never heard of it, you've heard about it now. I want you to associate it with fast inference. So our LPU AI inference technology is here to help you build, and I have a lot of developer resources. As someone who's in developer relations and passionate about AI education as well, I see the need for AI education and resources to build. So I will help you access all of that today so that we can build together. But one key thing that I want to mention is that I'm not just here trying to talk to you and convince you about another inference API, right? I'm here because Groc is actually deeply woven into the kingdom's plans and Vision 2030. And this is why I'm here for the second time in Riyadh, and I'm very excited to be here with all of you, because Groc has entered into a partnership with Humane. So for those of you who know, Humane is a brand new company that is here to solve, again, AI inference in the kingdom. And it's backed by very important figures in this kingdom. And we were actually named the official inference provider for Humane. Have you guys heard of Humane? Show of hands. Yeah, there was a huge announcement, so I'm sure you all know. So we are fully compliant with our Dammam data center for any of you thinking about data sovereignty. And within a little over a year, we now have more than 1.5 million developers, and I want you to join me in building applications. So I showed you a video. I talked a lot about inference versus training versus GPU versus LPU. And I want to experience the LPU inference engine together, and I'm going to show you some applications that were actually built on top of our API. So with that, let's move on to, first of all, I'm going to show you Groc console. So the magic happens here at console.groc.com. This is our platform for developers like you, or if you are not a developer in this room, for those of you who just want to even use AI to maybe ask a question, maybe to help with any assignments, maybe to double check a proposal that you are building out for your job. So here, you can actually go ahead to console.groc.com. You can create an account for free, and you can log in. And we have a playground. So like I mentioned, we're deeply woven into the kingdom's vision. And with that, we not only have a bunch of open source models that are extremely good. If you've heard of DeepSeek, Qwen, Metazllama 4, Mistral Saba model, that's really good for Arabic. We're also running Alam, which was developed here in the kingdom, and we're very proud to. And we have a text-to-speech model from Play AI that's in Arabic. So on this playground, I'm going to show you how we can experiment to see the different models in action. And then for all of the software engineers in this room, you can actually, after experimenting, see that you can take the code that is constructed here and create an API request and actually plug that into your applications. So I'm most excited about Play AI's Arabic. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Now, unfortunately, I can read Arabic, but I can't write Arabic. So I'm going to Arabic writing here so that we can plug this in. Now, a text-to-speech model takes text as input, and then using an AI model, it generates speech. And I'm about to show you how we can take the phrase Assalamu alaikum. We can put this, and we are now using our Play AI TTS Arabic model. And I just want to emphasize this. I pressed that submit button. That made a call to Groc API, and almost instantly, we generated the text, the speech for the text we're about to hear. We have different voices, so I'll go with Nasser.
السلام عليكم.
And then again, we have Amira, instantly.
والسلام عليكم.
So this is AI. Like I want you to sit down and imagine now the possibilities that you can do with a speech model. You can create voice agents in Arabic. You can create customer service agents. You can, create maybe a therapist agent. The possibilities are endless. We can actually come up with use cases that voice would really help for. Especially what excites me is accessibility. The things that you can do with voice AI are just extremely fascinating. And I know that you're all on the brink of building or thinking about building or even just utilizing for your day-to-day if you're not a software engineer, which is really exciting. So for all the developers in the audience, I just want to quickly show you. Actually, before I show you, who has built with OpenAI's API before? Okay, a few of you. Can I ask, if you guys aren't too shy, what brought you here today? Are you building applications or do you want to learn to build applications? Yes. Yeah. What was that? Yeah. Learn. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. That's really good. Anybody else? Is anyone building applications and starting to think of how AI can come into the mix? Yes. Do you have a use case you're building for, or are you just learning right now? Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Okay, amazing. So hopefully the playground will be useful for you to explore and look at all the different models, ask questions, develop system prompts, and then see the output. So, okay, that's very good to know. So I'll go back here to this presentation. Actually, before going, I want to show you something because since everybody is learning here, I want to mention this. How many of you are software engineers or developers or studying software engineering here? Okay, perfect. Okay, so for you guys, I have a really good resource that my team works on. It's on GitHub. It's called the Groc API Cookbook. Here, you will find dozens of tutorials on how to build with Groc API, how to build voice agents, RAG, retrieval augmented generation applications, and just beginner tutorials on how you can get started with an API request. So I'll share the links for this later, but another demo I want to show you. We had an intern who is currently at Stanford University, and we brought him on part-time. He's a very, very bright guy. He builds applications using Groc API, and this is an example of how you can take what I just showed you from the playground, an LLM, right? And you can transform that into a full application. And the way that you can do that is by taking LLMs, and I guess we can maybe, inshallah, have a separate course on how to actually build AI agents. But what this does is this takes an LLM that's on Groc. It has different web search tools and other functions that it calls, other APIs, and it instantly generates a chart. This is for financial, the stock market, etc. And it instantly gives you an answer. And I want to emphasize, as we're building out these applications, how instant that is. And this is another one that I built, that a friend at PipeCat built, Quinn and his team. PipeCat is a framework, but that I can talk about that maybe at a next technical session. It's a framework that is used to build out voice agents, so you don't have to build them out from scratch. And it's using Groc, the text-to-speech that I showed you before, but the English version. It's using an LLM, Metaslama 4, and it's using Whisper, which is a speech-to-text model. So I'm going to go ahead and start this just to show you because it was a fun demo and it's really great to see. So we're connected. Oh, it's already listening to me, which is why it just stopped mid-sentence. But can you tell me a little bit about Riyadh?
Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. It's a city with a rich history, blending traditional architecture with modern infrastructure. The city is known.
I'm going to cut it off, but this is an example of a voice agent that you can build, and it answered me instantly. So this was done in real time thanks to Groc API and the models that we have available. So I'm going to go back to my slides here. Now, I thought that the audience might have some developers in here, but I think the majority might not be. I'm going to go ahead and continue with this, but I'm going to leave a lot of time at the end for a Q&A because I really want to learn about what you want to learn about AI. And then hopefully we can get some answers and tailor the session a little bit closer to what you need. But for all the software developers in here, especially if you've built with OpenAI's API, it is so easy to get started. There is no learning curve. All you need to do is install the Groc SDK. We have Python and JavaScript. You get your Groc API key. We have a very generous free tier, so you don't even have to worry about that unless you're building a product and you're scaling, in which case you can reach out to me. But you get your Groc API key, and then you can build your first chat completion request. If you are switching over from OpenAI, our API is OpenAI compatible. So all you have to do is look at the API reference, and you will be able to get started. And I shared this. OK. So I'm going to keep this link up a little bit. How many of you are familiar with Discord for community developer forums? Do any of you use? OK, perfect. So we had a Discord, but we just recently built out, my team, a public developer forum and a community. And we just created, with Mashari, who's also on my team, and he's based here, a طويق developer group so that every single one of you right now, or anybody that's tuning in on the live stream, can join, create an account for free. And I check that community forum every single day. There is a group for طويق specifically. You can join this for free. And any question, I'm serious, even if you're a beginner and you just want to learn, you want more resources about how to learn about AI and how to use it just for your daily tasks if you're not an engineer, reach out, create an account here, ask a question. I'll be behind the scenes. I'll respond to you, and we can get started. I can share resources with you, and we can connect with each other and start to build out a community here for AI. And inshallah, we'll have many more tech talks that are more catered to what you need. So that is the link, and I'll also share that later. This is a QR code, if that's easier, actually. Let me just share that instead, for those of you who want to take photos. But I guess to sum up what I'm saying, and I guess let me try to put this in a lens for our beginners here. AI is not here to replace us, but to help us become more productive. I actually now cannot imagine how I used to work without using AI. I always have, an AI assistant that's open at all times, even while I'm working, when I'm trying to create new features for our console, new documentation for our console, when I run into any issues, when I want to create social media content, because I also help out with social media. I will literally just use the chat. And actually, to give you an example of how you can use AI in your daily life. Oh, and this is the Groc community. So it's awaiting the first posts from all of you, inshallah. You can click here to create a new post once you create a free account. And any questions you have, we can all meet here virtually. So I actually want to go back to the playground here. And we have a chat. So I'm not going to go into details, but there's a system prompt here. But what we can focus on is the user, or I'm actually going to show something that will help you greatly, especially those of you who aren't software engineers. There is a compound AI system that we developed where we have plugged in an LLM to live web search and code execution. So if you go to chat.groc.com, you can use this for free when you create an account. If you go to chat.groc.com, you can go to compound beta here, and I can ask about what are recent news involving Groc. Now, what this is doing, and this is really important to point out, because in just a couple of seconds, what this did is it used reasoning in the background, and it used live web search to access a bunch of different live links, and then it gave me recent news that it found. And this is an important distinction because for those of you who don't know, we have LLMs. They're very useful, yes. But if you're using them in your day-to-day, it's very important to know that they are based on static training data. They do not have anything new after the cutoff date. So most models, for some reason, have a cutoff date of October 2024. So if you try to ask an LLM, if you go to chat.groc.com and use anything besides compound beta, whether that's Quen or Llama, Gemma, whatever it is, it will not be able to tell you what happened today or what's in the news in Riyadh for this past week. It is static. So what we've built here, compound beta, and you can use this just in your everyday if you want to ask about things to do, any events that are happening in Riyadh this week. Because it has live web search APIs baked into compound beta, you can actually go ahead and ask it a current question, and it will be able to give you, with sources cited so that you can click into them and actually verify how true they are, an answer here. So I think I want to mention that because most of you aren't engineers in here. And just for daily use, compound beta, I use it every single day. It's just easy to go in here. Better than just typing into Google, you can get live information. So going back to our slideshow here. Next steps, you can get started for free for those of you who are curious about building with Groc API, console.groc.com. We can arrange for a more in-depth technical session for those of you who actually want to bring your laptops and build with me. Maybe we can build out AI agents together or something else. Please join our community forum. And now we have half an hour, and I'm really hoping that you all have questions, even any of you who are just here to listen or are new here. I really want to hear from your perspective, what you want to learn about, because this will help. We signed an MOU with طويق today. We're very excited about that, and we are going to enter into a partnership for AI education and a technical boot camp that's coming up, so keep your eyes open for that. And what you say today will greatly shape the content that I'm going to build out to help you. I need to know what you need so that I can cater the resources to you. With that, we'll move on to a Q&A. Thank you for listening. Okay. Yes?
I have a question regarding the hardware. So
yeah.
You mentioned that Groc has a unique
yeah.
hardware, which is the LPU.
Yes.
How is it different from the GPU? I know the GPU, it's really important in terms of the speed. It works in parallel. That's what makes it unique. But when you move to LPU, how is that different?
So it's completely different, actually. I can share, if you're more into hardware architecture, we have a couple of white papers that go into detail about our chip architecture. But the way that it works is, Jonathan, when he set out to create the LPU, he built it with software and hardware co-design in mind. So he started off with the compiler, and that's actually what we use to compile and run the models on chip, and then built the architecture around that. So our chip actually has limited SRAM, and it has what we call different slices in the chips. I don't know if I have a photo. I don't want to open up any links here just because I'm live streaming, but I have a really good photo I can show you and a paper I can share with you about the different slices that we have. But basically, the way our LPU architecture is, it's set up in a way that works really, really well with the model architectures that are popular today, such as LLMs, right? They're sequential, and we process tokens sequentially. So with the way, and once you'll see the diagram, it'll make a lot more sense. We have all of our like MXM, SXM, VXM, all of those memory slices, all of those slices together. And the way that it's processed is just really, really well suited for the way that LLM architecture is built. So I can share more after. Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. Next question. Please ask questions. We have 30 minutes. Yes?
You have mentioned that LLMs like yours, Groc,
yeah.
use static data.
Yes.
So there's a cutoff.
Yes.
But why not use a live server like Groc AIX?
Yes.
It uses live data, it fetches live data.
Yes.
Why not integrate that with all AI, LLM, large models?
That's a great question. So she asked, I don't know if everybody heard her, but she asked, why don't we take all of the LLMs that are available that are static and make it so that it's like, I don't want to confuse people, but X has an AI model where you can go in and it just does a live search. What I just showed you, compound beta, that is exactly what that is. And we built it in-house because a lot of people were asking the same question. And what that does is it calls a web search API and a code sandbox API so that we can accomplish that. We're still in the phase, not Groc specifically, but AI, the way it's moving. It started off with, okay, LLMs are really cool. Like that's great. Let's use them for work. And then people started realizing, well, I want real-time data. I just don't want the static. Then we moved into function calling and tool use, which are extremely important because function calling just enables an LLM to integrate APIs. There are so many like Exa, Brave Search, all these different APIs that you can actually plug into your LLM. I don't know if there could be a way to release because a model is a static thing, right? You can download a model off of Hugging Face. Exactly. So you can use all these different APIs, or to make your life easier, just use compound beta on Groc, and it already has it. It's built on the Llama models, and then we've built our own system where you can do a live search, and we have a deep research coming soon as well. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you provide any monitoring tools for the AI agent model to see events for the performance?
So let me go back to our platform very quickly to show you. Let's go to our docs. So Groc Cloud is, or Groc is an AI infrastructure startup. And we take open source and closed source models, and we just run them on our hardware and make them available to all of you via an API. So what we do have are the LLMs for text generation, speech to text, text to speech, images, vision, reasoning, and agentic tooling is what we call compound beta. But monitoring tools, we're not in the business of building monitoring tools. However, if you go to our documentation, we have an integrations catalog. In this integration catalog, we have a bunch of open source frameworks and tools that you can actually use. There are two for monitoring AI agents. One's called Arise, the other is MLflow. So we have different recommendations where you can kind of go to our documentation if you're looking for something specific, try these frameworks out, and then you can integrate them further into your application that you're building. So we only supply the very fast AI inference and the models that are affordable, data sovereign, running from our Dammam data center so that all of your data stays private, and actually we don't even retain any data. But because I work on documentation mainly, and I have a team of 2 engineers who are now helping out to make the documentation look really, really good and make it very easy for you, we will always recommend different integrations and tools so that you can take a look at whatever we don't serve, you can use from here. Okay, perfect. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Anything? What about from here? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but you're all here. Any questions? Is there anything that you're trying to learn specifically that I didn't address today? Anyone? Yes.
So I'm new to develop an application.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. So I am asking, so if I can learn making my own website.
Yeah.
With HTML or CSS.
Yeah.
So I can use the platform here.
Yeah, of course. The beauty of AI and Groc API, you can integrate it with anything that you desire. So a lot of, if I go back to the Groc API cookbook over here, and we go to tutorials, what I showed before, the stock bot for the financial services application, that actually has a GitHub repository and it's open source, so you can see exactly how it was built. So if you want to build a website, you can actually take a look at all of the different, I'm going to show you Gradio right here. Gradio is a framework that allows you to easily build, it's like Streamlit. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that, but Gradio allows you to build the front end for web apps that you would like to create. And we have a tutorial here for not only how to use Gradio, which is really easy. I'm not a front-end developer, but back when I was doing a lot of examples and tutorials and I wanted to develop a front end, I was using Gradio because it's just so easy. And then you'll see here that you can create a Groc client and make an API call to our available model. And then instantly you'll have a Groc API integrated and you can have an AI chat or an AI feature within the website you're building. If you have any questions about that, please do join the conversation in the community and I can provide more. Cool. Yes.
I want to ask about the Groc chatbot. What is
Yes.
the difference between other chatbots? Because nowadays there is a lot of chatbots like
Yes.
DeepSeek and ChatGPT. So
Yeah.
what's Groc providing?
Yeah, so Groc, I know I showed you chat.groc.com, but our business is not a chatbot. That's just to show you if you want to build a chatbot or if you want to use a chatbot in your daily applications, what can be done. We provide the API so you can build your own chatbot that's personalized to you. So, and what's very different about Groc is that one, we have fast inference. Two, which is really important if you're developing applications that you want to scale and turn into a startup eventually, like those 3 students that I talked about at the beginning of the presentation. You need data sovereignty and compliance with the law here in Saudi Arabia. So that is the one thing that we offer here right now that no other provider can at the moment. And on top of that, we have a very generous free tier. So if you want to go ahead and build something out or use the chat, you don't pay a monthly fee. One, it's pay as you go. It's pennies on the dollar, but I'll show you. I'm going to show you right now. If you go to, I'm going to go to my own org here. If you go to rate limits, as you can see on our free tier, you get 30 requests per minute. So that means you can build out a proof of concept, you can build out many applications, you get thousands of tokens per minute, and it's all for free because we value developers sort of experimenting and learning on the platform. Whereas I believe other providers are not as generous with limits, as I've run into many before. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you support vector databases?
Yeah, so that's the beauty with Groc API. All we provide for you is the fast inference via our API for any model that you choose on our platform. Vector databases, you can integrate them. It's very easy. And actually, for those of you who want to get into software engineering and building, you can, I'm going to show you. If I go back to, let's say, the playground or the chat, I can even ask, how do I integrate a vector database with Groc API to build a RAG application? So you can go ahead and ask, and I'm going to just ask like a random, let's do this one. So it's currently reasoning, and then it will give you, and yeah, that's how fast it is, just very, very quick. It'll actually give you example usage, and you can use AI to build and engineer things as well. So you can learn as you go, but also if you go to our Groc API cookbook, we have a full tutorial for how you can integrate vector databases right in here. So you can take a look at that and see how we built it out so that you can replicate it and build it yourself. It's all open source, so you can use it however you want. Okay. That's good. Any other questions? Yeah.
So do you support multimodal models or just
Yes. So we do support multimodal. Right now, we don't have image generation, but because of our partnership with Humane. We're working to get image generation and video generation models on Groc, which will be extremely fun if you've ever played around with any before. And we offer image, for example, Llama 4 Maverick and Llama 4 Scout, those are multimodal models, which means that if you have like a receipt or an image, you can actually feed that into the model, and then it will do optical character recognition and get you the text from the image very accurately. Or you can just ask about what an image says, and I can actually show you that too, if you're interested. So if I go to, I'm going to do Maverick here, and I'll just show you. And I do an image, and we'll do, let's do this one, maybe. What is this? Okay, so I gave it this image, okay, for Meta's Llama 4 Maverick, and I asked it, what is this? And it tells me very accurately the image is a purple graphic with white text and a logo. The text is both English and Arabic, طويق Academy, Groc, etc. So you can do this. Just imagine the images that you can give it to maybe create stories from images, receipts if you need to perform optical character recognition and get the text onto your device, and more. Cool. Any questions from this side of the room? Or everything's good? Okay, perfect. If there are no other questions, I think we can wrap it up here. Please make sure to join the community. And if there are any questions that you didn't ask me tonight, hopefully you can ask there and I can connect with you. And if there is anything else you want to learn about, or now that I know it's more beginner level, just drop a chat, drop a thread in our community site, and maybe we can organize another session that's more beginner friendly, or more technical to building AI agents or beyond. Whatever has the most upvotes, which you can upvote a idea here with the thumbs up, I can look into creating another talk for that. But thank you so much for joining. This is the first of many, inshallah, and it was very fun to talk to you all today. And I am very proud of all of you as well to join and actually be a part of what's going on in AI, because it's going to be very transformative, as you know. So do not lag behind. Learn as much as you can right now, and learn how to leverage AI to make your life easier. We can even have a session about how I use AI in my daily work tasks to make my life easier, to give you some ideas of how you can have an AI assistant, inshallah. Thank you.